Hello, East Bay. Stephen Tavares, East Bay citizen, and I'm here with Alameda's Councilmember Jim Oddie. We're going to talk about one of the big stories, not only in Alameda, but in the entire Bay Area, because there's a lot of rent control issues being voted on today. There's Alameda, there's San Mateo, Burlingame, Richmond, Oakland. We're here with Jim Oddie. You were not necessarily the biggest proponent of M1, which is the renters measure, but you were for L1, which is the city council's rent stabilization ordinance. So what are you hearing? How are you feeling here on election morning about the fate of rent control on the island?
Well, I know that both campaigns were really strong. They were both passionate in what they believed in, and I guess we'll see in a couple hours, where we're going to go. We'll either have M1, which is what it is, or the voters will affirm what the council did with L1. And if L1 passes and M1 doesn't, I hope that both sides can come together and see if they want some modifications or changes, and that we can work collaboratively to improve our rent ordinance.
Right. So we have right here.
There's a cat.
It's a gray cat. So I don't know what that means. It's not a black cat. It's a very nice gray cat. You can almost see it back there. Where'd he go? There he is.
This is live, right?
So yeah. So I don't know what that means. It's not a black cat. So that's not bad, but it's gray. So that could mean a split, right? Maybe
it means Gray Harris is going to be elected to the school board.
So I was thinking of some scenarios here. Let's say that M1 loses, and if you read on the East Bay Citizen, ebcitizen.com, my predictions, I think it's going to fail. Let's say that L1, your measure fails, and it fails, so it doesn't get 50%. Is that like a referendum that's saying, "Hey, council, we didn't like your ordinance either," and then maybe room to maybe make some tweaks, whatever they be. I mean, is that a fair assessment?
Well, I think if L1 fails, we still have the status quo, which is the rent ordinance that we passed back earlier this year. And I think that we're supposed to look at it after 1 year. I mean, I'd be happy to look at it, right after the election, even sooner than 1 year, and sit down with the tenants and sit down with the landlords and listen to their complaints and their suggestions for ways to improve it, and see if we can find a way to do that.
Right. Also, in Alameda, K1 is a utility user's tax, like an update. Are you hearing anything that's in trouble? Because I heard a little bit yesterday, and I don't know, because it's such a really not the biggest deal in the world when it comes to measures. But a lot of people are seeing a lot of things into it. The mayor sees a way to stick it to the pension, public pensions. Some special interest wants to go after your Netflix ability, or you're saying you're going to tax for watching Netflix. What are you hearing on that one?
Well, it is a highly technical measure, K1 Utility Modernization Act. It updates our utility users tax without raising taxes on anybody. It just expands the number of services. So if maybe your cell phone company doesn't charge it and mine does, then we're fair, right? And then it also reaffirms the transfer of funds from AMP, our municipal utility, into the general fund. So without it, it's a $5 million hole that we'll be looking at. I mean, I can't speak to the mayor's motivations, but I can say that 4 of the 5 council members are supportive of it. We did get an influx of out-of-state corporate special interest money that did a mailer, and they may have done a phone call. I've been hearing or reading on Peeps that they might have done that, but we feel pretty confident. We got our message out, and we did some phone banking over the weekend, and showed it got really strong support. So we're confident K1's going to pass.
And one last question, easy one. Where do he get these snazzy jackets? How can we get one? That is nice.
I think that all of the council members got these jackets.
That's not for the general public? You can't, because it doesn't say like council member.
No, it doesn't. Call the city manager. Maybe she'll figure out.
Although you should get one, like a little cursive here. This is Jim.
I thought about it, but they didn't do it that way.
and one other thing, I just thought about it, because this must be rough times for you, because you're people may not know that you're from Chicago, And you're a South Sider, which means he's a White Sox fan, and he's a pretty good one, I will tell you. How do you feel about this? Because I'd be pissed if I'm pissed when the Giants win the World Series, which I think they didn't really deserve. So how are you feeling about the Cubs, man?
What about them?
They don't exist.
It was a rough time to be a Giants fan. It was a rough time to be a White Sox fan. But it's great for the city of Chicago.
I know.
Now we're not going to talk about a curse.
I know.
Anymore.
Yeah.
Good job for Theo Epstein.
Oh yeah. Well, stay tuned here. In a couple minutes, we're going to have the man's going to be out here. Assemblymember Rob Bonta, who's in here. We're actually in Alameda at the polling place, and the boss. It's taking a long time, man.
It's a big ballot. I voted yesterday, and it took me like 15-20 minutes. So.
He's flummoxed by this big ballot.
Maybe he's stuck on the 18th AD race, not sure who to vote for.
He voted for Hillary for sure.
I did.
All right. Well, I'll be back in a little bit. And East Bay Citizen, ebcitizen.com. I'll have a live blog, and later. Oh, it's going to be crazy when we get closer to 6 and 7, 8. I'll be going around. I think we're going to be starting with Rokana's campaign and going all over the Bay, and I'll be on Periscope, and we'll see you in a little bit.
Thanks, Steve.
Hey, man.